Today I have my special guest. He's a certified trauma-informed coach and empowerment specialist as well, none other than Mr. Ronald Zion Roseboro. Welcome, Mr.
Thank you.
Ronald, on Book One Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Daniel. It's definitely a pleasure. Yes, my name is Ronald Zion Roseboro. I am a trauma informed coach, uh, and in addition to that, I'm also an author of several books, and we'll probably get into that a little bit later. And I'm definitely committed to seeing people whole, and specifically men who oftentimes don't subscribe to therapists, counselors, or life coach. So that's pretty much the realm in which I occupy.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Ronald. Thank you. So, is this all the books that you had, or I'm looking at the wrong one?
No, those are the books. Uh, Over 99% of them I have written myself. The
Hmm.
Organized Obstacle and also Testify series. Those are books that I was a contributing author on.
Hmm.
But the rest of them I have written myself, and of course, is there Samson and You has also gained a lot of traction as being a top seller.
Okay, so let's talk about this one. Oh, Testify the Praise Literary Collection. What is
Mhm.
all about?
Yeah, so that is a literary collection of people all across the United States, and who have contributed their testimonies within this manuscript. And so they're testimonies that will lift your spirits, regardless of what you have gone through in life. These are um, accounts of how individuals showed a lot of tenacity and resilience in bouncing back, regardless of how life has dealt, a vicious blow to them.
So, Mr. Ronald, tell us what are your writing process of all your books?
Yes. So it really depends. I have various books on various topics, and it really depends on the time and season that I'm in. And so when I am pretty much writing, I don't know, maybe perhaps I'm one of the very few authors that instead of getting in front of their laptop or desktop computer to begin to write, I just grab a pen and a notebook and begin to write, and I would transfer all of the information over to the digital product of a laptop or desktop. It seems like it's extra unnecessary work, but it's very therapeutic for me, because it's something about having a pen in your hand and you are just free flowing, as opposed to being in front of a computer and translating your innermost thoughts.
So, Mr. Ronald, are there a genre that you did not write yet that you are longing to write in the future?
Yes. So I think um, something that is half done, if you will. It is not a complete project. Would be the book of my life story, from the time that I was born um, up until present time. And so I'm very interested in writing that.
Hmm. Interesting, Mr. Ronald. And tell us, you wrote a book or you authored the two books and over 100 poems during your incarceration. Is that correct?
Actually, I wrote one book and that was "Is There a Samson in You?" During my time of
Mm,
incarceration, and along with that, I wrote 150 poems.
mm. So before you were a best-selling author, isn't it?
Yes.
So before the publication and the coaching practices, someone saw your words for the first time. Who was the first human being to read was a young or what you wrote?
Yes. Before publishing or
Yes.
after.
What did they say that let you know we're not just killing time or you are building something?
Hmm. Okay. Very good question. So I have always been a writer of writing poems. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's always been a deep passion of mine to articulate how I feel or how others feel onto paper. So that's something that I've never been a stranger to that. But I would always hear from time to time individuals would recommend or perhaps suggest that I need to consider writing a book, and that was actually during the days of my youth, teenager, that I would receive that type of feedback, and I would always file it away. That sounds great, but hey, I'm 17, I'm 18 years old. I'm not thinking about that right now. But hey, thank you so much for the compliment. I think that was the first wind of hearing feedback from the outside of others who really appreciated what I had to say and how I delivered.
Mm. So, Mr. Ronald, you wrote over 100 poems and two books during same period. Poetry and prose are different muscles, different doors. What are the material demanded poetry and what demanded the book from? How do you know which container to use?
Yes, well, in being a poet, you're always in tune with not just um, the signs of the times and the temperature of the times, but you're just in tune with everything that is around you, and in so doing, it's very easy at that time to just begin to just pen what you observe. When it comes to writing, when I wrote my first book, I was very intrigued about the life of Samson, and which I'm still very intrigued about his life, and how he was a man of immense great strength, yet he spent 40 years of his life, though he was called to be a deliverer, and I derive from Samson from the Bible, obviously, but he spent 40 years trying to deliver himself when he was called to deliver a nation. And so I begin to draw a parallel between the life of Samson and the life of many men today, how there's so many men who are strong in certain areas, whether it's strong financially, strong intellectually, um, strong in so many different ways as far as their skill set, but they're very weak when it comes to addiction, when it comes to low self esteem, when it comes to other issues. So I just kind of drew that parallel of the life of Samson, the life of us as men today. However, we don't have to have a tragic end, such as Samson. We can actually overcome the very thing that has have been very successful in overcoming us.
Very well said, Mr. Ronald. So every writer has a pages they never shown anyone. Drops too raw, or too confessional, or too dangerous. During those years, did you write anything you have never published and now you never will? What is or what was the boundary that kept in the drawer?
Well, now we would have to delve into my journal, and I think that this is journaling is very therapeutic. I don't do enough of it, but I know enough about it to know that it has very good emotional, psychological properties that we should take advantage of. I think that there are some things that I have written in the past where I was at a different place in space as far as my anger and resentment, and I just let the pen flow. I probably would not publish that, but it doesn't dismiss the truth of that particular era. And now I can always go back and take a look at where I was, not just physically, but where I was mentally, and also take a look at where I am right now and see that they're light years apart. But I would probably never publish that.
The sentence versus the sentence, Mr. Ronald. You were serving a legal sentence, but you were still constructing a sentence on the page. What the moment did you stop thinking of writing as way to pass time and you start thinking of yourself as an author and the title that existed independently of your status?
Yes, a great question. I think a lot of times, whether you're serving a literal sentence or perhaps you are incarcerated, it just looks differently. Perhaps you're incarcerated by depression or anxiety. Oftentimes, we will focus so much on that that we lose the aspect and the understanding that we are creative beings. And a lot of times, the most amazing piece of work, whether it's literary, whether it's song or songwriting, it stems from a point in time that was very hard, that was very adverse, that was difficult, and it was a setback, but it served as fuel. It was almost like ink in the pen of the author. And I think that that was the case in concerning my life, that I used everything around me, um, not a, not to weaponize against me, but to use it for a greater cause. And I think I succeeded that.
And congratulations, Mr. Ronald. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You wrote those first books for yourself, or perhaps for the men you were mentoring in the chaplain's office. Now you are the best selling author with readers who never been incarcerated. When did you realize free people were also hungry for that you wrote? And did realization change what you put on the page?
Yes, I think one of the most eye-opening experiences for me is to have a security guard, a correctional officer, rather, a correctional officer to read the pages of an unpublished book and be able to identify with it. But this is a correctional officer who is his main job is custody, but he can identify in the pages that I wrote about what I went through as a youth, and he went through the same identical thing. I think that that was another eye-opening aha experience for me, because it begins to show me of the power of the pen, but also the power of passion, that when it is spoken from a place of reality, that those individuals who have gone through that, they can quickly identify with it, and it becomes like a healing agent in their own lives.
Very well said, Mr. Ronald. You now hold a bachelor's in Christian ministry, isn't it? A master in crisis response and trauma and honorary doctorate. You have academic training, but you wrote the first books before these degrees. How much did the formal education change your writing, and how much did simply give you a permission to trust what you already know?
Yes, excellent question, Daniel. So, um, my undergrad and graduate work, as well as the certifications that I have obtained, it opened my eyes to an entirely different world as far as the terminologies of things, whether it's borderline personality disorder that I had no idea of when I began the writing process and being incarcerated. I had no idea about narcissism. I had no idea of stressors and post traumatic stress disorder. and all of the symptoms that accompanied those things that I exhibited. But my academia afforded me the opportunity to be able to now have the terminology that I never had. And now I have a better understanding that even though I did not have the terms when I was incarcerated, I had the symptoms, but I also had the ability to be able to articulate it as best as I could on paper before it actually went to publication. So it really uh, opened my eyes to a greater appreciation, to be quite honest with you, academia did, that I was on the right track all the time and I didn't know it.
Mm. So, Mr. Ronald, the publisher's rejection. You are now published authors, but every published author has a rejection story. The door that closed before the one that opened. What did the no sound like, and why are you grateful you receive it?
Yes, excellent, excellent question. Uh, I wrote many articles for um, newspapers and magazines that published them um, within the United States and also in the Caribbean. Uh, there was one particular newspaper that I really wanted to have in my repertoire of accomplishments. Huge newspaper, and I wanted to be an editorial commentator for this particular newspaper about a specific subject that I felt that I was well qualified to speak on. Well, they turned me down, and I was kind of upset about that, uh, kind of befuddled. But I'm glad that that door closed because that door had to close because it wasn't for me to walk through. When that door closed, another one opened, and it was Outspoken Magazine that reached out to me via social media. Had seen a couple of my articles, and they invited me to write about a specific subject that they felt that I was qualified to write on. So you may receive 99 no's, but it only takes one door to open. That's a yes, and I'm glad that it happened that way.
People, it's true. If the other one will close, bigger and wider will open for sure. So, Mr. Ronald, you coach others on healing from complicated grief and chronic trauma. You also write about these subjects. Writing requires descending into a material. How do you distinguish between therapeutic writing and what is the protocol?
Yeah, so therapeutic writing to me, it is another method of or another methodology of healing. There's so many different methods of healing, whether it's therapy, or whether it's journaling, i.e., writing. I think that it is a very it is a very solid form of therapy. And when I coach others, we also talk about that. We talk about the power of the pen and how it is so necessary to get out of us what has been trapped inside of us for a long time. And it becomes a tool, actually a tool of empowerment for many.
Very well said, Mr. Ronald. So, you are ordained minister and hold a degree in Christian ministry. Is it writing from preaching for you? Is a page a pulpit? Or, and if so, how do you keep sermon from overwhelming the service?
Yes. Well, to be quite honest with you, I think all of us are preachers in a sense. I'm going to let that sit right there for a second. I think that even what you are doing right now, Daniel, is a form of preaching. When you take off the P from preaching, you have reaching, and you're reaching so many people. And oftentimes we look at preaching as being very stereotypical that you have to be in a particular church setting. You have to be behind a pulpit. But I would submit to you that my pulpit is everywhere I go, whether it is on a podcast or whether it is one-on-one in counseling, group counseling, or whether it's meeting someone in a store and they strike up a conversation, whether it's a restaurant. I think that we all have a message, and we all are reaching people, and and in that message, it can bring forth a very powerful form of healing for so many people.
Powerful healing for sure. You host the same free live radio show on a national podcast. Speaking and writing are different instrument. Has the podcast changed your prose? Do you hear your own voice differently on the page now that you hear it so frequently through speakers?
Yes, absolutely. And it is totally different when you are the host as opposed to the guest. But there's so many different similar dynamics when it comes to the airwaves and reaching people and your targeted audience. What is it that you're trying to say? And I think that it's a wonderful world of just learning so much from both aspects of the host as well as the guest.
Ronald, the 40 pages constraints, bridging the gap is 40 pages. It is a training manual, concise or practical dense. Not every book needs to be 300 pages, isn't it? So, how do you know when a project requires brevity, and how do you resist the ego temptation to make it longer than it needs to be?
Yes, great question, Daniel. I think that is the temptation that so many of us authors we have, that we go into a project or a ministry. It's the same thing, thinking that I have to have a 200-page manuscript. I have to have a 400-page manuscript because we begin to compare ourselves to Steffi Graf or any other well-renowned author that is out there. That's not the case, because we all have something to say, and it's within a particular timeline. And so, with Bridging the Gap, Success After Your Sentence, it was specifically supposed to capture the attention of the targeted audience, which are men, women, and youth that are currently behind bars. Now that I have your attention, I'll have your attention for the next 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, etc., etc. Now I want to walk you through the process of healing and self awareness and self discovery of not just where you are now, but where do you see yourself later. And so it was very fitting for me to have uh, the amount of pages that I have, because it is a workbook. It is a literal workbook where you are now commissioned to sit down and to analyze yourself through different lenses and to write down what you see.
Very well said, Mr. Ronald. You're a best-selling author of a multiple books. The world knows what you have written. What is the book you have not written yet? The one you are maybe little afraid to write, and what is waiting for?
Hmm. So I think that I would have to go back to the book that I began writing, but I stopped uh, because I wasn't ready to continue. And the reason being because I wasn't at a place of healing to continue through the pages. And that is the book of my life story. And so that is the incomplete um, biography that I would like to publish, because I think that it is going to be an amazing book. Number one, number two, it would reach so many people, thoroughly. It would motivate you to move beyond your pain to understand your purpose. And also, I think that it would be the last therapeutic ointment that I can apply to my own life.
I'm looking forward for that book, Mr. Ronald, and for sure people will empower it, inspired, and be your legacy to the world. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 6 season, abstract poetry in third season, and of course my book 101 review in its sixth season too, comedy 101 in the fourth season, and my food 101 in sixth season as well. Geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 are in fifth season, science 101, sex 101 in its fourth season, spiritual awakening 101, trivia 101, law 101, mental health 101, motivation 101, entrepreneurship 101, and of course my Bible verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. Ronald, tell us, you have mentored hundreds of men, coached countless of clients, founded organizations, but writing is different. It outlives the author. What do you hope returning citizens 20 years from now find in your pages that the world will have forgotten to tell them?
Outstanding question. Um, I would hope that the legacy of my manuscript for those who are coming back into society, that they will see my book as a book of redemption, redemption and restoration.
Indeed, Mr. Ronald, please make that memoir or biography so that people will be inspired and it serve as your legacy to the world. As you said, it will be your redemption. And we're looking forward for that. So can you please invite our listeners to support all your books, your advocacy, your podcast, or whatever, anything you want to promote on Book 101?
Absolutely. You can find all of my writings, 101 coaching, group coaching at theshamefreelife.com. That's theshamefreelife.com. And on the homepage, I also invite you to download a free downloadable ebook that I prepared just for you. If you've gone through anything in life that was a setback, well, I think that this manuscript will serve you well as you make your comeback. Theshamefreelife.com.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Ronald Zion Roseboro, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to rise. And of course, more and more empowering advocacy like this to be implemented. So, Mr. Ronald, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dan. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, Mr. Ronald. More to come, people. See you soon.